Everybody, we have an exciting video today to go over. We recently had some good friends of ours invite us to come with them and take the children to the Moscow Zoo. It's really exciting for us because this is actually the first time we've gotten to take the kids to the zoo. They're all quite little, and we didn't have a zoo really near us before moving here. And to be honest, it's been years since I've been to the zoo myself. But here we are. A lot of stuff ready for the Chinese New Year was all set up, so that's kind of the thing coming up. They had some decorations for that. Had our stroller all ready. Walter was all ready to go. All right, I got a little bit of footage here then of just the layout and all. Admittedly, this is kind of the winter off season, so I really want to come back in the summertime when everything's green. It's a little bit brown right now, and the snow's melted recently because it's been a few warm days. But still, you can see how beautiful, the decorations are. It's a very big layout. It's really nice out there. But yeah, it's right in the middle of the city. You can even see the skyscrapers in the background of some of these clips. There's even a bridge where it kind of like spans one of the streets where you go across from one area to another. In the beginning, it's quite funny. Walter was very interested. Mary just kind of wanted to stay in the stroller. So this is kind of towards the beginning, looking at like the anteater enclosure. And you can see right here, once again, Mary was kind of interested, but mostly wanting to stay in the stroller. But the funny thing is how much that ended up changing over time. And I'll get to that in a second here. Everything changed when we got to the polar bears. Mary saw the polar bears and was kind of instantly in love. She didn't want to leave. She just stood there, and we ended up waiting a good little bit there. She was just sitting and staring at the polar bear, staring. And there's two enclosures, so there's one side by side. And this one, especially where this bear just kept going back and forth. He was super impatient. She wanted me to stand her up on the edge where we could stand up there and see it better, and she didn't want to leave. She threw a little tantrum when we tried to leave. She was crying, going, "The bear, the bear, the bear!" wouldn't want us to take her anywhere. And from that moment on, there was no stopping. She was obsessed with wanting to see all the animals. She did not want to be in the stroller. She wanted me to hold her, put her up to where she could see everything. This next building we went into, there's a whole building that was basically like primates, monkeys, gorillas, apes. This right here was sort of their gorilla enclosure. Most of them are smaller, and then there was this humongous one that just popped up. I think that's him up above and kind of the middle up there. He was enormous. Mary's looking for where the animal is, and then the little armadillo just starts running across, and she thought it was amazing. She thought it was a dog or a cat, because I think, as I recall, she kept calling, saying, "The dogs! The dog! The doggy! The doggy!" We then got to a building that was all African animals, and once again, Mary was on fire here, was obsessed with seeing everything. At this point, Walter was starting to get tired out. So was Nastya, to be honest. They were just kind of wanting to stay in the stroller because they both had a lot of excitement. But Mary, there was no stopping her by this point. Mary started asking for help standing near the windowsill, and I realized it was because she wanted to get in there and play with them. Mary, do you see the giraffe? Do you see the giraffe? I had to get as close to every window as possible, and Walter was interested, but not as energetic by that point in the process. He was content to sit in the stroller and watch the zebras and giraffes and things like that, but no, Mary was knocking on the window, wanting to climb in, and of course Nastya fell asleep in her stroller about halfway through and was out for the rest of the time.
So, some interesting facts that my friend told me about the Moscow Zoo that I thought was really cool were that number one, the animals here live a really long time, so they're very well taken care of, which was really nice to know as you're looking around at the different cages and everything. It's also really interesting to find out that during COVID and during the lockdowns, they were unable to really have people in the zoo. And apparently, many of the animals were showing signs of depression from that. And so, apparently, the zookeepers were doing lots of different things with the different animals to help them cope with being alone and not having people coming and visit. So it's surprising because you'd think that the animals would be annoyed at so many people coming and visiting, but actually, no. Apparently, they really thrive on people being there and watching them. And so that was also really cool to find out as well. Another thing that was really fascinating was we were there for hours, but apparently we'd only seen about a third of the entire zoo, which is really crazy. Also, my friend told me that she'd been going to the zoo for many, many, many years, and she said that every single time she goes to the zoo, she sees something new. So that was really fascinating.
But the star of the whole place had to be the panda. Well, actually, there were several pandas, but there was a younger panda there, and he was definitely the MVP of this whole thing. Mary loved watching him, and he was so active the whole time, walking around, moving around, and it was like he was very aware that there were people watching. It was almost as though he would interact with people. He'd kind of like walk where people were watching, go back and forth. To be absolutely honest, I think he was actually performing and knew what he was doing. He walked right to where the group of people was and actually started backing up, going forward and backwards. It was amazing. There were two adjoining rooms, and Mary would kind of just go back and forth because the panda would pop into the one and into the other one, where because people were watching from both rooms. She would kind of stand there near the middle between the two rooms and watch him in the one room and then watch him in the other room. I hear the pandas are somewhat of a newer addition to the zoo, and they were definitely the highlight for Mary. Besides that, and the polar bears. It was definitely the discovery for us. She's never been to a zoo before, and oh my goodness, we know what to do with her for her birthday now. She was so completely obsessed the whole time with all the animals. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We had a wonderful time. It was a wonderful zoo. Can't wait to go back in the summertime when everything's green. Please like, comment, and subscribe.